Welcome to Big Muddy Mayhem. This is the podcast where we talk about true crime and bad behavior in the Midwest.
Each week we'll bring you 2 stories from the heartland that might break your heart, but we hope to entertain you along the way.
I'm Tracey Laricha.
And I'm Janet O'Brien. Hello again.
Hello again, Janet. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Week's been good?
Yeah, it's been fine.
Right. Fantastic.
I've had to start going to the office, which I thought I would hate, but I don't actually hate because the dogs don't bother me all day.
Sure.
So, it's not terrible.
Sometimes it's nice to see people.
Exactly, and I don't have to do it all week, so it's fine.
Sometimes it's nice to not see people, right?
Exactly. Absolutely.
All right.
So, I think we have 2 stories today.
We do. We've got a couple of stories.
I think I get to start today, right?
You are the one that has the story that goes first.
Okay. So, my story, have you heard of Paul Michael Stephani?
I have not.
Okay. Paul Michael Stephani, he was born September 8th, 1944 in Austin, Minnesota. Okay. So we're in Minnesota now. He was the last of 10 children born in his family. His family was super Catholic.
Okay. And by the time they get to number 10, they're just like, well, you're on your own.
Exactly. When he was 3 years old, his mother remarried, which is un-Catholic.
Right.
Right. But the stepfather was not a great guy.
So he's 3.
Yeah, he's 3. And he's the last
living
one.
with a stepfather that is not so good.
Yeah, the stepfather beat the children and threw them down the stairs every once in a while.
Well, toughen them up.
Exactly. So, there's not a ton of information on this guy, so I feel like it just kind of skips forward real fast. He did get married. Stephani got married to a Beverly Lider, Lider, and they did have a daughter. Okay. But soon after they had their kid, they got a divorce, so it didn't last long at all. He did have several jobs. Most of them were like kind of janitorial type jobs. And in 1977, he was working for a Malberg manufacturing company, and he ended up getting fired from there. Oh. Okay, so you got to remember that Malberg
is what we're yes. We're holding on to that.
Yeah, just try to remember that. He was, during this time, he was once convicted of aggravated assault, and he also had a history of mental illness.
Oh, dear.
Probably the stepfather throwing him down the stairs did not help the situation. On New Year's Eve of 1980, there was a Karen Patak. Remember, I said this just skips so forward so fast. It's kind of crazy.
It's okay.
Yeah. So Karen Potak, Potak, she was a university student in the state of Minnesota, and she ended up arriving in St. Paul, Minnesota to have a party with her sisters because it's New Year's Eve, because that's what you do. She ended up leaving the party after midnight, and she ended up wandering.
Nothing good ever happens after midnight.
No, it does not. It does not. So she left the party after midnight and decided she wandered the streets of St. Paul drunk.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Which doesn't mean that she deserves anything to happen to her. But that does not mean that nothing is going to happen to her.
Exactly. So 3 hours later, the police, they end up receiving a call from a man wanting a squad sent to Pierce Butler Road next to Malberg Manufacturing Company.
Oh, wow.
Because there was a girl that was hurt there. I'm doing air quotes, so.
And that's why we are remembering the name.
Correct.
Malberg.
So the police find a naked and beaten woman in the snow next to the railroad tracks. So beaten that her skull is actually cracked. She survives this.
Oh, wow. Wow!
She survives it.
That.
Now, she did get some brain trauma from it, but she survived it.
Well.
Right, yeah. So that's a thing.
Blue.
Months later, the police get another call from this man claiming to have stabbed someone with an ice pick.
Okay, like in the head or
Just stabbed.
In general?
Yes. Kimberly Compton, she was 18 years old. She was a student from Pepin, Wisconsin. So on June 3rd of 1981 is when this happens. When he called, he said, "God damn, will you find me? I just stabbed somebody with an ice pick. I can't stop myself. I keep killing somebody."
That is, like, that's pretty cut and fucking dried, isn't it?
Exactly. They're like, okay. So they end up, finding her. And then 2 days later, the same person calls back again, apologizing for killing, and would turn himself in. But he did not.
Oh, dear.
Right.
Now, so in the meantime, they did nothing?
They can't figure out who the guy is. They found her.
Okay.
And she was definitely dead. But she was found on the side of the road. 2 days later, so he called back. And he said he apologized, called back, and he said he would turn himself in. Didn't happen. And then two more times he kept calling and changing the facts of what he did, again to say he was sorry for killing her.
Oh.
She was found a short time after the first call near an unfinished freeway and had been stabbed with an ice pick.
So are we looking for a construction worker?
They don't know. I don't think they know what they're looking for. They just keep getting these random calls from this guy. Okay. So after the second phone calls, the second call, he was deemed the Weepy voiced killer.
I have heard a little bit about this. Yes.
So it's that guy.
Oh gosh, this is awful.
So Kathleen Greening, she was found dead at her home outside of St. Paul. He did not call about her, but later on he did say that he drowned her in her own bathtub. So he admitted to this, but he didn't make the Weepy phone call thing. Barbara Simmons, this is the last person he murders. Barbara Simmons, she's a 40-year-old nurse. Her and Stephani were at the Hexagon bar after he had asked her for a cigarette. So they ended up talking and hanging out. They spent the evening at the bar. Oh my God.
How many nights does it turn out that way though? You're at a bar, someone's at a bar.
They ask you for a cigarette, you give them a cigarette, you end up talking to them, right?
It's not somebody that you would talk to normally, but you do.
Right.
Oh.
And then, so they spend the evening in the bar, and then she looks at the waitress, and she goes, "He's cute. I hope he's nice since he's giving me a ride home."
Oh, no.
Yeah, oh, yes.
And if you're the bartender in this situation, speaking as someone who has been a bartender, you're just like,
right, exactly.
Do I know this guy? Mm-hmm. But then if you don't know this guy, do you know this girl? And then if you don't know either of them, is it your place to get involved?
It is so messy. Anyway, the next day she was found stabbed to death.
Well,
he was not a nice guy, clearly. He contacted the police and said, "Please don't talk, just listen. I'm sorry. I killed that girl. I stabbed her 40 times.
Jeez Louise, 40 times.
Yeah. And then during the same phone call, he tells them Kimberly Compton was the first one over in St. Paul. So remember.
Oh, hey, also.
Also. Because remember, when he made that phone call, he's like, there's somebody who's just hurt. He never admitted to killing that first person.
Wow.
Right? So it's just crazy. So on August 21st of 1982, He goes to the red light district. Apparently there's a red light district in St. Paul, and picks up a 19-year-old sex worker by the name of Denise Williams in Minneapolis. Oh, not St. Paul, Minneapolis. She senses something is wrong when he started driving through a dark suburban area rather than returning her back to the city where he picked her up. So he picked her up, they did their thing, and then he's not taking her back home. Back to
work.
Exactly. He went onto a dead-end road, and he stabbed her 15 times with a screwdriver.
There's a whole lot of stabbing in all of these killings.
Yeah, exactly. He likes stabbing. She found a glass bottle in his car and was able to hit him over the head with it. This caused...
Did she?
It ended up causing cuts on his head and his face. And then a man who lived nearby heard screams and found that Stephani was trying to stab her again after she hit him. The man wrestled Stephani and it caused Stephani to run off. So
fight like hell and scream as loud as you can. Again, I mean, it's cute to be like, all right, well, like, just don't get yourself in this situation.
No.
But man, if you are in this situation, fight like hell and scream as loud as you can.
Absolutely.
This, like,
you might not.
That might get you out of it.
Exactly. So, after that he ran off, the man called an ambulance and he helped identify Stephani because he saw, he wrestled.
Right.
When Stephani returned home, he noticed how badly he was bleeding, and he decided to call for medical help.
Well, you might.
When he called 911, the call confirmed it was the Weepy voice killer because they recognized his voice.
And he was. I think I have heard a couple of these tapes.
I'm not going to play it now, but I'm definitely going to put the recordings on the Facebook page.
I'm so sorry.
Oh my God, it's horrible. And they were able to link him to his last attack. He was only brought to trial for the Simmons case. His ex-wife, a sister of his, and a woman who used to live with him testified, stating that when they listened to the tapes, they were like, yeah, that's him. That's definitely him. But this was not enough to conclusively identify him as the Weepy voice killer, because of the hysterical crying and it distorted his voice. So they ended up just convicting him for the Simmons murder and the attempted murder of Williams.
Okay.
So he got convicted for 40 years. The aftermath of this is in 1997. He was diagnosed with skin cancer. And he was only given less than a year to live. So that's when he confessed to the rest of the murders.
Well, when you are kind of getting to the end of the road, then there's a whole lot of stuff that...
Right. So he confessed to Kim Compton, Barbara Simmons, and Kathy Greening. That's when he told them, yeah, I drowned that girl in a bathtub. And then he ended up dying in 1998 of skin cancer in prison. He was only 53 years old.
Wow.
But so I know this is a short story, and I'm specifically doing this because I know Tracy's is a little bit longer.
It is a little bit longer.
But honestly, I was trying to find something that was creepy because there was another story that I was telling you about that creeped the hell out of me.
Oh my gosh! I know. So Janet and I have both had the same problem where you start to research a story, and because we are big Muddy Mayhem and we try to focus on the Midwest.
Right. Oh my God.
Every once in a while you get to a story and then...
You're like, please, please, please. No.
Oh,
it's
and you're
in
like,
Pennsylvania.
I
know!
Angel, we are helen gone from Pennsylvania.
But honestly, this I think this story is way more backed up with the actual calls that he left because they are creepy.
It is, and I have heard about them. And if you will Google and we will you put some on the show notes?
They will definitely be on the Facebook page.
It is completely just like,
Yeah, exactly.
No, I've heard some of these videos. I am so sorry for the Cecil intervention. We have a beautiful cat that belongs to the world. I'm going to send a photo to Janet so that we can make sure to put them in the show notes. But we have a beautiful, half-jawed, intrusive cat that sometimes gets in the way of our podcast.
And he stopped the recording.
And
but that was okay.
He stopped the recording. So it does sound as though we were at the end of the story.
Yeah, so that guy was terrible.
Voice caller, right?
Yeah, and again, I will put the recordings out there and you'll be able to listen to them. And yeah, not a good guy.
I'm listening to his little jingly bells, and hopefully this won't be a problem in our second story.
So I'm ready for your second story.
All right. So our second story, Janet, this one is kind of a little bit dark.
Okay.
And this is the story of Jaryd Atadero.
Okay.
We are starting out in in October of 1999. Alan Atadero and his two kids, Jocelyn, who is 6, and Jaryd, who is 3, they are going up for the weekend to the Poudre River.
Okay.
All right, get your laughs out about the Poudre River, because this is a dark story. So everybody, laugh about Poudre right now.
I'm laughing. Ha ha ha.
Okay. They have bought the Poudre River Resort. Mm-hmm. It's him and it's his twin brother that have kind of bought the property.
Okay.
And it is just sort of, we're in Missouri, so when you float, there's always that place that it's like, all right, well, you've got like a little stretch of river and you've got some campgrounds.
Right.
And you've got like a little bit of a homestead along the way. They are going to fix it up and run it all themselves. They're all up there on what is supposed to be a working weekend.
Okay.
So Alan and his brother is not there. So it's Alan Atadero and it's his business partner, Bruce. And Alan is a single father.
Okay.
Which is kind of an unusual thing in 1999. But they are, the kids are with him and they are all up there. They're going to work. Alan is a member of the Christian Singles Network.
Okay.
And so they have a bunch of other people that are up there that are from that same group that have been super helpful to him and that are going to be helping with cleaning up the campground.
Gotcha.
So they're supposed to be up there on a work weekend where you go for a little bit of volunteering and then you get to stay.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So the morning of October 2nd, 1999, they're all supposed to be up there working. Jocelyn, his 6-year-old daughter, runs off and is talking to one of the neighbors that she knows, and they've been invited to go on the group with a hike.
Oh, okay.
She asks her dad, hey, can I go on this hike? Oh my gosh, it's going to be so much fun. He says okay. He knows one of the people in the group. Her name is Janet.
Oh, okay.
Now, his son is like, oh, can I go too? Can I go too?
Okay.
And he's only 3.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the walk is just supposed to be about a mile or so away. It's not really a hike. It's more of like a nature walk.
Right.
They're going to a fish hatchery. And so there's a whole group going. They're not going that far.
Right.
Dad says, all right, fine, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he is kind of a little bit upset about the fact that none of the people that are supposed to be working that weekend are actually going to be there that weekend. But they set out with 11 adults and the 2 kids. Mm-hmm. And they're supposed to go to the fish hatchery. Or maybe not.
Or maybe not.
The group, as they set out, they decide to go for a bigger hike that some of the more experienced campers want to go on.
Okay.
It's 15 miles away as the crow flies, which means it's like a 30-minute mile away drive.
Oh my God.
Mountain roads, you know? And so they are going to a place called the Big South Trail. I'm going to, as I talk to you, pull up my photos.
Excuse me. Hi, Blue.
I know. Hello, Blue. My dog. So this is a picture of Jaryd and Jocelyn that was taken the day before they disappeared.
Yeah, so
he's 3, she's 6.
Yeah.
These are tiny children.
Yes, they are. Very much.
Anyway, and so this is the trail that they decide to go on.
Oh my gosh.
The Topo trail that they decide to go on. Mountain roads, it's described as challenging, and what I find really interesting here is that nobody felt like it was normal or okay to check with the parent.
Yeah, right?
About like, oh, well, we're not going where we're
going.
Like
we said
where we're going.
Yeah.
But off they go. The trail, the Big South Trail is 11 miles long.
Wow.
There are 16 campgrounds along the way because it's something that you're supposed to hike up to and then backpack in. And as they go along the hike, the group also decides to split into 2 separate groups.
Oh no, they're Scooby-Dooing it.
They are! They are completely Scooby-Dooing it.
Oh no.
There are some people that are like hanging back and a little bit slower, and then some people that are just like hike.
Right.
That go along like at a faster pace. So some of them go ahead, some of them stay behind. At some point, Jaryd, the 3-year-old, runs ahead from the slower group.
Oh my God.
To meet up with the faster group.
Oh my God.
He then gets ahead of the lead group.
No, nobody's watching him.
The person that is supposed to be watching him is in the slower group, but when he runs ahead, she's like, he's
it'll be
fine.
Yeah.
I know, Blue even thinks it'll be fine. Sorry about my dog, y'all. Anyway, he then gets ahead of the faster group, and there are even notices, like notes from afterwards, where someone in the faster group says, somebody really ought to be watching that.
Yeah, you think?
No one is watching this little boy.
Oh my God.
So they sat out, I think, maybe about 9:30, 10 a.m. About 11:45, Jaryd is seen by two fishermen along the Pruder River.
Oh my God.
He comes off the trail. He is hitting rocks with a stick. And he talks to the 2 fishermen. And he's like, hey, are there bears here?
Oh no.
And the fishermen were like, nah, you'd better go away.
Oh.
You're gonna scare the fish.
Oh my God.
So he goes away, and they were like, oh yeah, we saw some people that were like 80 feet off the trail, la la. He's probably fine.
Oh my
Didn't
God.
look like he was with no one. So 11:45 is the very last time that Jaryd Atadero was seen alive.
Oh my God.
Around 12:30, the 2 hiking groups finally convene with one another. Nobody has the 3-year-old.
Oh my God.
They search on their own. They search for about an hour before somebody decides that it might be a good idea to call in professionals.
Oh my God.
they figured that somebody maybe ought to go and also tell his dad.
Right. You think?
Alan has been back at the camp, and he has been working all morning because he's had all these people that he has given free, room and board to that weren't there. And he's been working all morning. He's laying in his own room, and he has kind of a little bit of an apartment.
Gotcha.
This isn't where he lives, but this is just where he stays on the weekend.
Sure.
So, you know how when you go and you rent a canoe,
right?
There's always like a little county store.
Yes.
And then there's somebody that's like staying in a little apartment like right off the store.
Yep, like what's the place we used to go to all the time on the Big Piney?
Wilderness Ridge?
Yeah, Wilderness Ridge.
Or
and then there's the other
Rich's
one.
Last Resort?
Rich's Last Resort.
Right. So it is exactly that.
Yes.
You have one person who's like staying there with their Pall Malls and their like 4 dogs.
Right.
Listening for when somebody comes in and wants to like pay for a canoe or buy a bag of ice or whatever.
Right, exactly.
Anyway, Alan is in that apartment. And they come back in the afternoon and they're like, oh, we have to go tell his dad. Alan has been working all morning. He's just starting to like fall asleep, to the Price is Right.
Right,
or
exactly.
And he hears some commotion and he's like, I'm not the only person here. I don't have to do it. And then he hears more commotion and he's like, oh, shit. I have to be the person here.
Right.
So he gets up and he's getting ready to go in and check on it. And a woman comes into his apartment. And she is obviously very nervous. And she's like, hey, okay, well, it's not a big deal.
Yes, it is a big deal.
This isn't a big deal.
Totally a big deal.
So we have a little bit of a problem with Jaryd. And he's like, okay, well, what happened? Is he okay? Is he hurt? Is he at the hospital?
Right.
No. Well, is he hurt? Is he sick? Oh, no. And he's like, finally, he's like, well, what the hell happened to him? He's okay. We just can't find him.
Oh my God! He's not. You don't know if he's okay because you can't find him.
Janet, I will take a moment to let our Muddy Buddies know that Janet is a parent and I am not.
Oh my God, no.
But if you were to tell me this about my cat, I would be over the moon worried.
Yes.
Dad is over the moon worried.
Clearly.
Of course, what wouldn't you be?
Exactly.
So the dad runs out. He's ready to leave. He gets in his car and he's like, I need somebody to tell, like, where did you last see him? At the fish hatchery.
Right.
And that is where he finds out that they didn't go to the fish hatchery, that they went somewhere fucking 15 miles
away. Oh my
up
God.
the trail. He tells Bruce, who is his business partner and helping him manage the property, don't worry about it. I'm going to go in and find him. I will call 911. But then, like I said, he gets in the car and finds out that he's not going 1.5 miles away to a nature walk on the fish hatchery.
No, he's not.
He is going 15 miles up a mountain road to a hike that is known as challenging.
Oh my God.
So he flies down the road to the Big South Trail. Some of the hikers are still out on the trail. They're looking for Jaryd. Alan, who is the dad, realizes this is far more complicated than he thought.
Sure, absolutely.
So he goes and he gets on the, thankfully he took a Ranger radio from the hotel.
Sure.
When he left and he's like, yeah, I'm going to need you to call 911. And Bruce, who is maybe one of the last heroes that we're going to have in this story, is like, I called them as soon as you left.
Oh, good.
So 911 is already on the way. Sheriff is going to meet you.
Good.
Immediately. So make some room for these heroes now, because there aren't a whole lot in this story. All right, so this is about 12:30.
Mm-hmm.
By 4:26, emergency alert is out. By 6:30, search and rescue has people, and they are gathered at the trailhead. About 65 people. Everyone is looking for Jaryd. They are right off the bat. Alan eventually goes home because he's like, after a couple of hours, he also realized, he's like, oh shit, where's my daughter?
I'm sorry, what?
Because the same people that were supposed to be watching his son on this hike
God.
were also supposed to be watching his daughter. He goes back, and thankfully, the person that was supposed to be watching, like, both kids did bring Jocelyn home.
Thank God.
So he's able to come home and at least hold his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And thank goodness, like, you're okay. He can see that she's still there. Then they go up again to before they go back up to the trailhead, he locks himself in a bathroom to make calls to the family.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to worry her. And so he calls his mother, his twin brother.
Oh my
and
God.
then, again, he was a single dad.
Mm-hmm.
And so he doesn't have his kids' mom's number right away. So he has to call their mom.
Right.
Whose number. So, like, you have to just...
You have to, like, call...
You have to make the 3 worst phone calls of your life.
Exactly.
And then get that number and make the 4th worst phone call of your life. They go back to the trailhead. They're searching some more. Eventually, like kind of in the wee hours, he has to sleep. And so he tells the search and rescue person, like, all right, well, call me when you find him.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He sleeps in his truck for like 3 hours. He wakes up, the sun is up. There's no sign of Dylan, or of Jaryd, rather. And so Jaryd is still missing. He has lost hope. Then they find it again, because apparently the early call to look for Jaryd means that they have brought in a search helicopter.
Oh, okay.
So a search helicopter is coming, and he even looks at it and points to Jaryd's sister, Jocelyn, and is like, they're going to find your brother.
Yes.
Well, it's come from Wyoming.
Okay. They
just refueled in Fort Collins.
Okay.
It is loaded with everything that you would want.
Right.
4 Air Force people and 1 search and rescue guy.
Okay.
And to the horror of everybody that's looking up to the sky with hopeful eyes, the helicopter crashes.
What?
It's too heavy.
Oh my God!
All the fuel and 5 adult men on board flying in the mountains.
Oh my God.
It's too heavy. The helicopter ends up flying. The search and rescue guy doesn't have a helmet on because he's sitting in the window.
Oh my God.
Trying to be like, here's where we need to land.
Right.
Because the other 4 don't have any clue about where they're going. They lose altitude. And the search and rescue guy, who opted for a headset, not a helmet, because he wanted to be able to
see and
is like, hey, we need altitude. And the pilot is like, I know, we don't have it. I'm going in. So the helicopter is just too heavy. And when they crash, a a tree branch comes through the door
Oh my God.
and hits the search and rescue guy and knocks him out cold.
Oh my God.
They end up crashing in the forest.
Oh my God. Wow.
So, the good news, there's not much good news in this story. They all live.
That's good. That's good.
Now, the search and rescue guy, he's unconscious and now in a helicopter where the fuselage has broken into 3 pieces.
Oh my God.
And the search and rescue team now has to like break a window and haul him out of a burning helicopter. They're all right. Like, well, I mean, as
all right as you can be.
As you can be. Oh no, he ended up with like a fracture in his skull, several broken bones, a 13-inch gash in his leg.
Wow.
A bunch of broken ribs. His femur is broken. Like he can't. He's
oh my
not.
God. He's not going to be helpful.
He's not helpful
No.
to the search. Anyway, the Air Force people do have minor injuries, but everybody lives from this, which is great.
Right.
But this has, number one, pulled a whole lot of the search and rescue people to help rescue these folks, and now they also don't have a helicopter.
Oh my God.
So the media ramps up.
Yes.
And one of the reasons, first of all, because of this story, and second of all, because just an hour or so away, there was something else going on in Colorado in this time.
Okay, so this is 1999, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm trying to think.
Do you want to guess?
I'm blanking. Just
Okay.
Go.
Grand jury is about to make an announcement about any indictments on another little kid's case in 1999.
Oh my God, Ramsey.
I love that you get me every time. So anyway, they're getting ready to make an announcement about the John Benet Ramsey case.
Oh my God.
But they're not. So there are all of these press people that are here at the same time.
Oh
and,
my God.
well,
yeah.
nothing's going to happen right
away.
now.
Yeah.
So
let's cover this thing.
So all of a sudden, if there's no news, why not go see what's going on this case?
Right.
So now it's a freaking media circus.
It sounds like it. Oh my God.
And I'm going to show you a story, like they bring in everything. There are 17 separate news trucks. There's a search plane. There are 12 dog teams. There's a dive team. There are over 200 trained search and rescue people.
Oh my God.
They won't let any untrained search and rescue people come in for this because they're worried about people getting lost or hurt.
Right.
In this, like, kind of mountainous area. I mean, and believe me when I tell you that there are a whole lot of people that show up. A dude shows up barefoot with a mule that he swears can... I know, there's a whole lot of folks.
Well, that's great, you know.
So, this is a picture that I'm going to show you of Jocelyn Atadero, who is out there with her dad.
Oh my God.
That's not her dad, but she's petting a search and rescue dog.
And she's sitting next to a fire truck, and wow.
She's 6.
Yeah.
This is a terrible thing.
Yes.
She is terrified. Like, her family is terrified. This is awful.
This is awful.
But dogs make everything better.
They do.
Really do. So, like I said, now it's a media circus. The press is starting to find out stuff about Jaryd's disappearance before Alan does.
Oh,
and
no.
That's kind of where it gets a little bit complicated. Like, all right, well, there's so much press there. Number one, okay, if it's your kid that's missing, you want everyone and anyone that's, like, could possibly be available to search for them.
Right.
But then the more people, they aren't all trained.
No, they're not.
and maybe they wouldn't see
Something
that a trained rescuer would.
Right.
So it's good and it's bad.
No, I gotcha.
And again, the press is finding out stuff before the family.
Oh my God.
So the most momentous of these things is when he hears from a member of the press, when Alan hears from a member of the press, that there were footprints of a small child that were found at the edge of a ridge right next to footprints of a mountain lion.
Oh my God.
Alan is crushed.
Oh.
They bring him photos.
Mm-hmm.
The pictures of the shoe, way too big.
Oh, okay.
To be his son. And there's no blood.
Good.
No drag marks.
Right.
It's just literally one footprint next to another footprint.
Right.
No remains. So they keep looking for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then 6 days
Oh my God.
after Jaryd goes missing, the officials call off the search.
Wow.
And this is October 8th of 1999. They're like, welp, mountain lion got him.
Oh my God.
Alan thinks otherwise. Alan thinks that it might be some kind of an abduction. The sheriff's office doesn't believe him, doesn't think that that's anything to do with it. There are a number of hoaxes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a kid that shows up that is way too old to be Alan.
Oh.
Who says, Daddy, it's me. Like,
Oh my God.
I'm Alan. I want to come home.
Oh my God.
There's the guy with the bare feet and the mule. There are, as always, just same with the John Benet Ramsey case, so many people that are like psychics. Oh, he's here.
Yeah.
Oh, he's there.
I'm like, no.
People that want to help. Oh, I saw a dark-haired boy I'm sure it's him. He was at a McDonald's in Florida. He was this, he was that.
No.
But when you're the parent, what can you do but chase down?
Yeah, you have to chase down every single lead.
Oh, gosh.
As ridiculous as it is.
So, again, they call off the search in October of 1999.
Wow.
So many things happen in the ensuing years. And now I'm going to take you forward to June of 2003.
Okay.
June 4th, 2003. There are a couple of businessmen that are hiking. And they come across a small kid's shoes and some clothes. And they are in the same park.
Mm-hmm.
550 vertical feet. Not 550 feet.
Right. Vertical.
550 vertical feet.
Right.
Up a cliff. And it's a 50-degree incline.
Oh.
But as soon as they see these clothes, they're like, I don't know, maybe this is something about this.
Right.
So they are maybe the only other smart fucking adults that like do something in this story. And they take pictures, they touch nothing, and they go back down.
Yeah.
And call the sheriffs.
Right.
They come up, they take pictures, they take the photos, they send them to Mr. Atadero, and Alan Atadero says, yeah, that belonged to my son.
Oh my God.
So this is 4 years later,
Mm-hmm.
out in the Colorado weather.
Right.
The shoes are still in really good condition. The sweatshirt
Mm-hmm.
that Jaryd was wearing and the sweatpants that he was wearing, they have like one leg of the sweatpants is torn out.
Right.
And then there are a whole bunch of like little like kind of pick holes.
Uh-huh.
Like if you had a bad cheap dryer.
Yes.
But they think that this is from rodents and birds.
Yeah.
taking fibers for their nest.
Sure.
So they, the searches resume. I'm going to show you these clothes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they're definitely pecked at for sure. Absolutely, the sweatpants. There's a missing leg, and there's just a lot of little holes in it. Looks like, some kind of animal had been pecking at it.
But the tennis shoes.
Yeah, the tennis shoes look fine. They look just like tennis shoes,
And the laces.
Yeah, the laces are still there too. That's so crazy.
Like still white.
Right. Yep.
Right. So they do resume searches. Resume. They resume searches, and on June 14th, 1924, the searchers find one molar that's sitting on top of a log.
What?
Just one tooth on top of a log. And right underneath it, like kind of on the ground, is not an entire cranium, but just a skull cap.
Oh my God.
And it is set like upside down, like a bowl. They do several rounds of testing over the years because DNA testing wasn't...
No, it wasn't super great in 2003, so...
So anyway, they find out that, yes, this is Jaryd.
Oh my God.
After 3 DNA tests, they confirm that that's Jaryd. And we still don't know what happened to him. Again, the sheriff's department still thinks that it's some kind of like bobcat or like mountain lion attack.
Right.
Oh, also I should mention they find his pants and his pants are inside out.
Oh,
A bobcat doesn't do that.
No, it doesn't.
And there's no hair. There's no blood.
Oh, that's weird.
It is weird. Something, I think, happened to this kid. And whatever happened to this kid, I think that whatever happened to this kid, I don't think the remains are there because he got there himself.
No. Absolutely not.
How does he get up a 500 foot incline by himself? Why are his pants inside out? Why are there no traces of anything else? Although, to be fair, like, they also say there's no blood, there's no, like, seminal fluid. They've done every kind of test. I think personally, I think something happened to him.
Yeah.
And that they just brought something back.
Oh my
God. Out of guilt.
So crazy.
I am sorry, and I know. Hi, guys. Sorry if you're here for a good time. Something terrible, I think, happened to this little boy.
Oh, yeah.
Who was not watched like adults
not
failed
at all.
Him. Man, this was a sweet dad who was a single dad who really tried his hardest.
Exactly.
And just was like, oh, yeah, sure.
Right, because they weren't supposed to go that far.
Because you were going a mile and a half up the road to the fish hatchery.
Right, exactly. Oh, my God.
Oof.
Wow.
The one thing that I have to say that is maybe a little bit of a silver lining is that one of the things that Alan has done in Jaryd's memory is he's put together a whistle project in the state where rangers go and they talk to kids.
Oh, okay.
And they tell them what they need to do to stay safe when you're out camping. Like little kids, if you're out with your kids and you're camping, and if any of our Muddy Buddies have littles that you go camping with, dress them in bright clothing, make sure that they are watched all the time.
Yes.
Give them like trail and outdoor safety training, and put snacks in their pockets.
Yeah.
Just in case they get separated. So they have like some water and some food and stuff while you look for them. And the number one thing that Alan says might have helped Jaryd is if you had a whistle. So they put together the Whistle Project.
Oh, okay.
And now they give out whistles to grade school kids.
Wow.
Like, if you get separated from your family, just go and sit underneath a tree, stay put, and just blow your whistle as much as you can until somebody comes to get you.
Wow.
And the whistles all have Jaryd's name on them.
Oh my God. Wow.
I should also mention that Alan, the father, is a teacher. In middle school.
Gotcha.
So that is the terribly sad.
Terribly sad, yes.
And just,
right.
heartbreakingly tragic story of Jaryd Atadero.
Wow.
And my sources were the Vanished podcast, which does have just an interview with Alan Atadero. He also wrote a book called Missing While the Sun Sets.
Oh my God.
I also looked at a podcast called National Parks After Dark. And I also looked at denverpost.com, Alternative Interest Podcasts, the Colorado and .com. How do I say that?
Colorado.com. I don't know.
.com and then Wikipedia. And so
wow.
I am sorry that was a dark one, but it is.
It's a thing. So
it's a sad story, and if you take your littles out with you hiking, please, please, please
watch them and
follow smart. Well, and even adults.
Yeah, absolutely.
A whistle isn't a bad idea for anyone that's going to be going out on
a
trail.
At all. Wow.
Right.
Well, that was a sad story, but it's what it is. Turns out we're due a true crime podcast. I know.
Now that we've brung you down, we're going to take a minute and tell you all about our Patreon, and then we'll be right back to talk about what's nice.
We'll be back to tell you about what's nice.
If you enjoy getting muddy with us, here are some ways you can help to support the podcast. You can email us at bigmuddymayhem@gmail.com and let us know if you have episode ideas or suggestions. You could also like and subscribe to the podcast on the platform wherever you're listening. And of course, a good review would help us reach new listeners. If you're listening on YouTube, leave a comment in the comments section, please. And you can also join our Facebook group where you can discuss the episodes and also give us ideas and comments about the episodes that we record. And of course, please tell your friends. And now we're back for What's Nice here.
Welcome back. So I'm going to start with the What's Nice because that was a little dark, but that's okay. Mine's a little cheery. So I have a good, happy, cheery What's Nice. It's about St. Paul, Minnesota. Did you know St. Paul, Minnesota, for a very long time now, over 100 years, this is like literally their 138th edition of it, a winter carnival.
I love carnival! Oh my gosh.
So it runs from, it hasn't even started yet. It starts tomorrow. It goes from January 25th to February 4th. It's for everyone. Let me name all the things.
If you can get there.
I know, right?
Right.
So they have a free ice sculpture park. They have a fishing tournament that actually started, the ice fishing tournament that began at the beginning of January but continues on.
An ice fishing tournament?
Yes. You know what ice fishing is, where they cut the hole.
You have to go and cut the hole out, and then you just sit in a closet and drink beer and like, piss into the hole with your buddies.
Right. My uncle Ed. My uncle Ed used to do these in Canada.
I don't like fishing, but I think I would maybe just once try ice fishing.
They have walking tours. They have a laser light
show.
They have multi-block ice carving competition.
All right.
They have a winter carnival memorabilia display because, they've been doing it for 138 years. There is a cat show.
A cat show?
There's a cat show.
But the cats hate cold.
They have
It's just a room full of space heaters and like a cat in front of every single one.
It's cold. They have an orchid show.
Also kind of cold for that, but okay.
They have a curling open house because curling, come on, right? Minnesota?
I would like that.
Yeah. They have a thing called the King Boris or Barras Grand Parade. Then they have a parade party, so they have a party that happens after the parade.
Mm-hmm.
They have a fire and ice winter run. So, of course, they have, people, the crazy racers who want to
No,
run
thank
cold.
you.
Yeah, no, thank you. They have a concert. They have a hockey game, because, of course, they have a hockey game.
Mm-hmm.
They have ice carving for kids, so the kids can learn how to ice carve. They have a rodeo.
An ice rodeo?
Oh, no.
Where the bulls? I picture just like bulls that are like, whoa! For once, the bulls are the ones saying, whoa!
They have open golf on ice.
Janet.
Tracey. They have more parades, they have fireworks, and then, of course, they have a dance at the end. So
And the dance is just people falling all over the ice.
So you can find this under all the information on this under visitstpaul.com.
It's a little bit slippery.
It's a little bit slippery, but yeah, St. Paul, Minnesota has a winter carnival. They have a whole lot of stuff that happens in a short period of time for a week and a half. So
Oh my gosh.
starting tomorrow, ends on February 4th.
That sounds
Nice.
Cold.
Cold. Very cold.
What's cold here?
Exactly. Oh, so do you have a what's nice?
I do, in
Awesome.
fact, have a what's nice. So when I was looking at the story, the one thing that was kind of funny in this sad story was the fact that it's all called the Poudre River.
Yes.
And so I looked at what's nice in the Poudre River area.
Okay.
All right. And what I did find is that there's something called the Pigeon Express.
Okay.
The Cache de Poudre River back in Fort Collins.
Mm-hmm.
So you can whitewater raft down there.
Oh, yes.
Which is probably why they had this,
right.
this campground along the Poudre River. Along the Poudre River, I'm just going to say Poudre as
Poudre
many
River.
times. I'm just going to say Poudre as many times as I can. So along the Poudre River,
Mm-hmm.
they have the Pigeon Express.
Mm-hmm.
So this is somebody that this is a thing that they have along with Rocky Mountain Adventures.
Okay.
And they will take photos along the river for you. You know when
Yes.
you go and do have you ever done a whitewater?
Yes, I have. I absolutely have.
You know how you can't take pictures.
No, somebody
when-
has to take pictures along the side of the river.
Right, correct.
Exactly.
You can't take your own pictures when you're whitewater rafting, but somebody takes a picture of you
Yes.
being a badass
Right.
along the whitewater river. Well, what they have done along the Poudre River is they have the Pigeon Express. Somebody takes photos.
Right.
And they have homing pigeons.
Okay.
That they put the photos into a bag,
Oh my God.
attach them to a pigeon, and the pigeon flies back to Fort Collins.
Oh, wow. Carrier pigeons. Oh, my God.
Completely.
Wow.
And so then by the time you're off the river, this is faster than a Fox photo.
Oh, yeah. No way.
And so, yeah, you get off the river and your photos are right there waiting for you.
That is crazy.
Via the Pigeon Express. So while you're rafting, your prints will be ready for you.
Mm-hmm.
They have video on their website, and this is at Big Rocky Mountain Adventures.
Okay.
Or, I'm sorry, RockyMountainAdventures.com.
Uh-huh.
And they will have the photos ready for you. You can see...
There's pigeons. Hi, pigeons. They're in a little cage. I mean, they're just sticking their heads
They're
out
right there. And
Oh
like I
my
said,
God.
it's not that far for them.
No, not at all.
And there isn't much need for pigeons these days.
No. Wow.
However, this is one place where this really makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, okay, you can have a photographer that is alongside the river that takes pictures and then like goes back and forth three times a day.
Oh my God.
Or you can have pigeons.
And you know what? Pigeons are probably cheaper to pay than people.
Maybe. Depends on where you work.
Yeah.
But I do love the ingenuity.
Oh my God.
And
that's
the
crazy.
opportunity for working pigeons. It's hard for a pigeon to get a good
Exactly.
job these days.
Exactly.
I hope that those pigeons get everything that they want and that they sleep in like
Right.
the kindest, best places.
That's amazing.
Sad what has happened
Right.
in that area, but also beautiful that so many people have had a chance to go and have a nice river trip.
Right.
And oh yeah, the pigeons took our picture. You can't help but smile when you think about that.
No, not at all. That is so crazy.
And so
I will find pictures of me river rafting. That's what I was looking at for right now. But yes, that is so crazy.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things,
Right.
I feel like, all right, well, Fort Collins, the Poudre River, Rocky Mountain Adventures,
Yep.
pigeons taking photos.
That is so crazy.
For me, that was the smile that I needed when I finished researching this dark story.
Exactly.
And so,
I think we're at the end.
I think we are. And as we always end,
Stay Midwest nice.
stay Midwest nice.